When creating a new reality, it's imperative to know how to use your mind the right way. And the reason for this is because the automatic portion of the brain has a tendency to categorize things. But we can use our minds and consciousness to examine how it does this so we can begin to recognize the limits we place on what we perceive as our physical reality. These limitations make our personal world a very predictable and mundane model, if not altered, requiring a more open view of awareness to create a change. There are marvelous things going on around us all of the time, oftentimes right in front of us. However, we sometimes miss these things because of our brain's ability to block out anything that doesn't fit within its models and limitations, or our true beliefs about life's workings. Any information that is passed into a person's perception is first filtered through the physical senses and then examined by the brain. If the brain decides to exclude a particular thing based on any limitations that have been acquired and maintained within its neural networks through repetition, a person will rarely even know that they perceived it in the first place because it will be completely blocked out. In other words, if there's something that's truly desired and it doesn't fit the model that the brain has about life, it cannot be realized. It simply won't exist in the perception of reality. But if you consider the fact that all options are available, right in front of us at any given time, and that the only difference between experiencing a particular option and not experiencing it is what the brain filters as a match to our beliefs, it becomes apparent that using the mind to override this feature of the brain can make drastic and positive changes to a person's reality. And it's the mind's job to expand the awareness beyond the brain's capacity. The limited views of perception happen to each of us every day. From the brain's point of view, there can be no understanding of all of the options accessible when limitations have been placed on those options, and it will simply deny any portion of information available if it doesn't fit the model it knows. This particular understanding gives tremendous value to the fact that we must train our brain rather than allowing it to train us if we are to have the life that we truly want. To use the law of attraction in your favor, disbeliefs of manifesting what you want in life can be detached from until you've trained your brain sufficiently enough that they've disappeared. However, conscious, dedicated action is required to make the lasting change within the brain models that are already established. One of the easiest ways to do this is to keep a what-if type of attitude and remain playful and childlike when doing so. This is very effective because it greatly increases the chances of removing power from limited models and beliefs. You may think something is impossible for you, but what if you allowed your mind to entertain the what if? In other words, you may think having the amount of money or the relationship or whatever it is that you desire will never happen. But what if it did? How would your life be different? What would change about your current circumstances? How would you be freer or happier or more secure? Allow your mind to wander to that what if and to entertain it often. Imagine for a moment that you fully create your reality, that you can have whatever you want, and that you're capable of manifesting anything. How wonderful would your life be? Allow your mind to float to that beautiful place and feel how good it feels to be there. This type of mental practice additionally takes a great deal of pressure off of the manifestation itself, creating a release and resistance. The practice is simply delighting in and engaging with the thoughts within the imagination, the thoughts that move beyond the limited beliefs. And when you allow your mind to move beyond limited beliefs in a playful manner, you're free to feel how you really want to feel. Although this process sounds simple, the more you practice it, the more you gradually begin to break down old belief systems that block desires and give room for new manifestations to become part of the physical reality. If you look around you now at the life you currently live, you will discover that what you see is the product of your own decisions, choices, beliefs, perceptions, and even limitations regarding life. Detaching from those things and your current reality creates a shift into a new experience. For further validation of your creative abilities, grab a piece of paper and label it, "My thoughts that have become things." Then list the things that you have brought into manifestation. For example, my marriage, my children, my living arrangements, my career, or my car. You can literally use anything that you can see that you experience in your reality currently. Then trace back the origin of these creations as far as you're able to. And most importantly, try to recall when you first began thinking of each of these things. In other words, you're reversing the creation process and finding the root cause of the effect. After you initially thought about this thing, what transpired to bring it into your experience? Even if it's not something you wish to experience any longer, ask yourself, did I think about this thing often before it was mine? Did I daydream about it? Did I attach positive emotions to these thoughts? How often did I do this? Through this process, you should be able to clearly see how the creation process occurs through thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. And knowing that you have that power, you can use it to begin manifesting goals and objectives for the future by duplicating the process. The brain has a lot of ideas about the things it thinks it wants. These are the things it believes are necessary to attain happiness. It's limited in its capabilities to understand what we are actually capable of connecting to with our mind and consciousness. The brain has limitations, the mind and awareness do not. But what we all really want on a deep down level is to become more of who we really are. A being that is full of peace, joy, security, love, freedom, and all the other things that resonate with our true essence. The bottom line is, we can have so much more than what our brain connects to when we use our minds to expand our consciousness. Nothing is absolutely required for our happiness, and this means that we don't have to wait for anything to change to start feeling better now. There's a complete choice in thinking and feeling, and both merely take conscious effort. Even a small amount of using your mind the right way can begin a process that's the catalyst to start seeing desired results. As you continue replacing old thoughts, beliefs, and feeling states with new open awareness, you will find that your entire world begins to expand and enlighten. It will become more interesting, more mysterious, and more amazing.